Hello guys, today we're going to talk about inequalities with variables on both sides. So we're just going to build off what we did yesterday in terms of solving these things like we would equations, but we just have to keep in mind that one thing about if we multiply or divide by a negative, we have to flip the sign, okay? So now we're going to work with variables on both sides instead of just one, okay? So what we do is it's just like what we would do with equations, except for now we have an inequality to work with. So I always typically put my variable on the left side. So what I would do is subtract 3x over here on both sides, just so I don't have to rewrite it at the end for those people who need the variable on the left in order to graph. So I would have 2x minus 4, keep my sign the same, is less than 8. Okay, and now that we're here, it's just like what we did yesterday. So we would add 4 on both sides, keep my sign the same, and 2x, okay? Then our last step is just to divide by 2. Notice how the 2's are positive, so the sign does not flip. Nothing changes about it, so my answer is x is less than 6. Now remember, you have to graph everything. So put 0 and 6 on a number line, and then figure out how to graph. So since it's a less than sign, it's an open circle, and then I shade to the left because it's less than. So shade everything less than 6, which is to the left. Number 2, we're gonna move right into it. Now today, since it's a video, if you get stuck, pause it and look at it again, okay? But for number 2, just like what we would do for equations, I'm going to distribute. So we would have 2x minus 10 is greater than or equal to 5x plus 11. Again, I just like my variable on the left side, so I'm going to move my 5x by subtracting it. Subtract 5x over here. So then 2 minus 5 is a negative 3x. Minus 10 is greater than or equal to 11. And then we just go like what we did yesterday. So adding 10 on both sides to move the 10. So I would have 21. So negative 3x is greater than or equal to 21. And our last step is to divide by negative 3. So you just have to keep in mind that when we divide by a negative, we do flip our sign. So it would be x is less than or equal to negative 7 is our final answer, okay? So I would put negative 7 on my graph, 0. Take a second to try to graph that, pause and try to graph correctly. Close circle on negative 7 and shade to the left because it is less than. All right. Last 2 for today, it's just really practicing these and making sure we're good with the steps. So the first thing to do for number 3 is distribute this 4. Do not add 6 and 4. We cannot do that. We talked about it yesterday. So 4x minus 12, 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. 9x minus 16. We talked about this heavily yesterday too. When they are on the same side, all you do is the math. You don't do opposite operations. So I would have 4x, and then 6 minus 12 is negative 6. So be careful on that, okay? And then again, I'm in the habit of, I really do like my variables on the left, so I'm going to have negative 5x minus 6 is less than or equal to negative 16. And now we're right back where we were yesterday. So add 6 on both sides. Negative 16 plus 6 is a negative 10. And when you divide by a negative 5, it's going to get you again if you forgot. X is greater than or equal to a positive 2 for my final answer. Having to flip the sign, because I'll highlight it again, we divided by a negative, okay? And I'll write the answer too. If you didn't have variable on the answer would just be x. This is what you would get if you left x on the right side. So both of these are correct answers. Okay, so here I'll go back up to this one as well. If you left it, this would be your answer. Okay, so both of those are correct as well too. All right. And our last one. We hit these kind of hard last unit, proportions. So what we do is we still do cross multiply, okay? But what changes is it is mandatory that x minus 1 stays on the left, okay? Because it is bigger than 2x minus 4. So we have x minus 1 and it's being multiplied by 9. And then on the other side, it's also mandatory that 2x minus 4 stays over here. But you still cross multiply, so it'd be 6 times 2x minus 4, okay? And then 9x minus 9 and 12x minus 24. Forgot an x. That's an x, okay? And then solve. So just like what we've been doing, I like my variables on the left, so I'm going to move my 12x. So I would have negative 3x minus 9 is greater than negative 24, and then add 9. So that would be a negative 15, and negative 3x is greater than negative 15, and our last step is just to divide by a negative 3. So once again, making sure that you flip your sign. So one possible answer is x is less than 5, but if you left the variable on the right side, you may have gotten 5 is greater than x. Both of those are correct. All right? Oh, and I forgot to graph. So let's just go graph these. 0 and 2. So x is greater than 2. I would have greater than or equal to. So I would have a closed circle on 2, shade to the right. And then for this other one over here, I would have 0 and 5. And an open circle on 5, shading to the left, because x is less than 5. That is it for today in terms of what we're doing. So just get on Math XL, okay, and make sure you show all of your work in those boxes for the people who are in class. Virtual kids just keep showing it on paper, all right? And we will pick this back up on Monday.